Hey everybody, Jolo's here, Battle Rankings Live, with another, we're hopefully a riveting episode. I am here, I'm joined with my lovely and talented producer. Say hi, Ann.
Hi, Ann.
And anyway, we also have a special guest in the studio. Say hi, Chris.
Hi, Chris.
Yep. Chris is in town for Gen Con, and so he's actually, Chris, you're actually our first live studio guest.
You've had dead ones?
We have had dead ones, yep.
Okay.
We've done stuff before, but we never had anyone for the Battle Rankings Live. And today's discussion is No Retreat. And what music did you pick today?
That was the bugle call. The opening was, of course, Retreat.
But it's no retreat.
No Retreat, but the bugle call was Retreat, and then it was followed by the Colors.
To the Colors.
To the Colors. Sorry, To the Colors.
To the
and he would know.
Yes.
Chris would know. In fact, he said he had to resist standing at attention.
Yeah.
Pavlovian reflex going on there that I had to fight.
Chris, I've known you for a while. Why don't you tell the audience about yourself?
Okay, I am a retired Army officer. I was in various branches throughout my career: armor, quartermaster, civil affairs. Also got very well schooled on artillery and reconnaissance operations. I've been retired for 6 years now. I've been playing Flames of War since 2006. Have won one Masters and one Nationals in that time. And then usually, I think my lowest placing was 6th in the Nationals. So I've got a fairly good idea how this game works.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Chris would, if it wasn't for your deployments, you would pretty much been at every Masters.
Yes.
Yeah. So Chris was not at every because of deployment. So
I have qualified for every Masters. I was in Afghanistan for one, and the made-up world of I can't even remember the name of the silly country that the Army sent me to, but it was in Louisiana. So,
okay, Louisiana. Okay, I'm trying to put that one together.
The Army, when they send you to their main training bases in Louisiana and California, they have a whole scenario built, and it's built around Trans-Caucasus conflict. The countries that you're mimicking are Georgia, Iran, I think Tajikistan, and there's a couple of other countries that I'm blanking on. But they changed the letters around a little bit, but the ethnic diversity is the same. The issues are the same. The militaries are the same. And you just get put into that situation, and you have to, fight your way out, basically.
In Louisiana?
Uh-huh. Or California.
Oh, well, okay. Because when you were talking about being deployed in Louisiana, I'm thinking, remember the movie Southern Comfort?
I do remember the movie Southern Comfort.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know. Did you ever see that?
No, I have not seen
No,
that. That
exercise didn't go well. Oh, anyway, but that's why we're here. But anyway, thanks for coming in. And like we're gonna do let's see if this works. This should work. Let me get in here. We are going to cover the tournaments first. Now, by the way, everybody. So the thing is that if you want to know what tournaments are going on, watch this. I mean, you can just watch the first 10 minutes and then leave. I got my update in tournaments. Fine. I hope you would stick around because we're going to do some, something game related, and then of course we get a little, sometimes we get a little off the rails with everything else. But the thing is that this is one of the first things I do is for this to update you guys on what games are coming out. So watch this. Now I know most of you, like 90% of you, watch this not live. Well, that's fine. So if you like what you see here, hit the like button, hit the notification button on whatever. If you're on YouTube or Facebook, hit the little thumbs up button so other people could see it. Let your people that you play with know about this so they can see the tournaments too, and then hopefully improve their game. Because that's what we're here about. That's what we're about. It's where we're about. And so now it was, anyway, on on the threads I saw today, they're like, "Oh, Historicon, what the hell's going on there?" Well, I've been talking about Historicon for a couple weeks now. Where that's when we get there, I'll update everyone on it. But the thing is that I've been, saying what Historicon's doing and what Flames of War is doing, Battlefront. And so, it's one of those things. As soon as it goes, registration goes, you can get on and, I already planned my vacation. I already took days off to go. Well, by the way, I was going to go to Historicon. Anyway, just telling my producer.
Thank you.
Thank you
so
welcome.
much.
So, that. So I did that. Anyway, so we'll go through here. For so far in September, there's nothing new because it's pretty much going in. We've got Gen Con this weekend. That's why Chris is in town. I got 3 days of gaming there. That's pretty cool. If you can't make Gen Con, there's Kansas City. By the way, Alex, who's running that, I got him some tournament sheets, which I got to put up on the website. Do that for you guys. But anyway, he's doing Late War 105. So if you're in the Kansas City area, go do that. Now that con fell through, that con fell through, but a store picked it up. Oh, by the way, the 18th, it's not sold out. I have the little sold out tag there. It's not. There's 22 people, so there's room for two, and there's room for all of them. So if you want, if you're nearby and you want to come down, you can get yourself a week, weekend pass, and hit all 3 games. Okay, Huracan. It's 24th, 25th. That's still there. I'm not too sure how the tickets are going, but
that's I do have an update on that because I'm not going to be able to make that anymore.
Mm-hmm.
They do not have enough people to do the Team Yankee tournament, so that has been canceled. But the Flames tournament the next day is still on. They have more people signed up for that. For
the Saturday? Okay. Well, if you're in the Orlando area at that time, help those guys out. They're trying to get something going down there in Florida. 25th, Dreamers Vault. They got Mid-War 100. That sounds cool. Also, 25th, Asgard's Games, a newer game store out there in Texas, Houston. Speaking of which, you're moving to Texas?
I will. I have played at Asgard before. I will play at Asgard again.
Well, there you go.
It's a good store. They had a lot of product. I'm not sure how things have gone since Eric Warren has left, but obviously they're still got something going on because they've got a tournament set up.
Yep. And then BragaCon, whatever. BarageCon, which is in some place. Is that France? No, I'm just kidding. It's in Maryland. They're doing, Mid-War 120. Okay. And then Late War 110.
Maybe somebody has some tigers they want to play with.
Maybe. I bet that's what it is. Anyway, so that's going on. And that is going to wrap up, unless someone else comes up, the tournament season. By the way, just to let you know, for next week's show on the 22nd, we're live. We're going to announce, the person that's coming up with the format is going to come on the show and then announce the format to the world for Masters. So that will be revealed next week at this time. Okay. Anyway, let's look going into the future. Advance the colors. I know I'm going for the Saturday event. So that's still up there. CincyCon is in late October. Then Masters. Unfortunately, it's the same weekend as CincyCon. Then HistoricCon. The 11th is the Team Yankee. And the 12th and 13th is Nationals. Late war, 100 points, 6 rounds. Now, next week, late next week, HistoricCon should be releasing, allowing people to register and sign up for games. So as soon as we know the date and time, we will let you know. And I know they asked for 60 seats. Hopefully that we get 40 something. So there's that. So there should be plenty of room. I already marked my days off, but there we go. I've been talking about this for a couple weeks. Then Game Time Adventures. That's Newark, Ohio. On Millennium Con before that in Texas. You can be going to that.
No, I'm planning to go to HistoricCon.
Okay. Right, because that's a Sunday. By the way, that's a Toys for Tots event. So bring yourself, bring a toy to donate. Jacob Meyer is running that and collecting the toys, and then he'll submit who brings toys to the list for the drawing. I'll have more on that in an upcoming broadcast. Able Company's doing theirs. Game Time Adventures, they're doing theirs. Skoda Fest. You gonna drive back out for Skoda Fest?
Maybe. Maybe not. I don't know.
Yeah, that's always a big deal. They've been doing that for a while. Also, I talked to Joe about it, and he's going to also collect toys at that event, which is really cool. And then your placeholders here for the Las Vegas Open and Adepticon. So things are getting back up. So now that you know what the schedules are, now you can plan your vacation time accordingly. All right. So let's talk about the main thing. No retreat.
All right. So no retreat. In this one, somebody has to pick defend, and someone else has to not pick defend. That opportunity, whenever that happens, you've got a pretty good chance of getting a no retreat. It's not as good as it used to be, but still pretty popular mission to see on the table.
No.
Yeah, let's.
Okay. There you go.
So here's the basic rules. You got the ambush, deep immediate reserves. This is very dangerous. If you're a tank heavy, don't pick defend. I think that's been hit up on before, but unless you've got something that can put 60 points out, you need to make sure that you're not defending, or you're going to be at a serious disadvantage. Setup, defender picks first, attacker picks next. One objective by each side, and minefields are in play. 60% on, 40% off. Ranged in markers go down, defender then attacker. Defender gets an ambush. That's always a good thing, especially if you're the defender. Then the unit the defender deploys, and then the attacker deploys. Everybody starts in foxholes as per normal. Attacker goes first. The attacker wins if they take an objective. Defender wins if they start turn 6 without without an enemy team within 8 inches.
Yeah, the thing is to note is that attacker's objective is hot on turn 1.
Yeah,
that seems to be some people forget that one.
That is a terrible mistake to make.
It is, but you usually do it once. I found out most of these things. I'm like, yeah, you only do that once. Anyway, not that I don't think I've done that one. Anyway,
all right, layout of the battlefield. the main important is a 16-inch barrier between the or 16-inch no man's land between the center line and the attacker deployment area, and the defenders the objectives go within that box 8 inches from everywhere. Pretty easy to set up, very easy to get going. This is going to be one of the harder missions for the attacker because you're concentrated on a narrow front, and you've got a lot of distance to cross, and you've got to go through your opponent to get to those objectives. He's going to be set in position, waiting for you to come. This is why this is one of the better missions if you're a defender.
Yeah, I agreed there.
So here we have a battlefield. Pay no attention to all the vehicles and stuff around. I'm just using it for demonstration's sake. All right, the midpoint is roughly where the cornfield ends, following that line. The first decision that you have to make when you're playing this game is that the defender gets to choose which side he wants. The defender needs to figure out where does he want to fight the other guy, because this is the point where you maximize your chances to defeat him because you choose which terrain you're using to defend with. Things that I like to look for are key terrain, the hills. There's one hill by that wood line in the lower left-hand corner. There's one hill center line, and then there's a couple of hills in the back right. The hills in the back right are kind of useless. They're out of position. They're not really going to dominate the battlefield. That one in the center is is useful, but you don't have much room there, and it cuts off a lot of your shots. The one in the back is pretty useful because it covers that right side. You have an elevated position. Nobody will get concealment in the cornfield, and nobody will get concealment if you're shooting through it to something on the far side. So that becomes a very powerful position to put an ambush or any kind of unit that has high rate of fire and high AT. So to me, that is one of the best things. The other thing is that building the McDonald's or what are they calling it? The
McKing or something.
Yeah, the McBurger King. Also gives you an elevated position if you've got some kind of infantry that can shoot long range. So for like a machine gun platoon, that would be a nice position to use. So you've got that wood line down the center, which kind of divides your in the center where the vehicles are high. Yeah, that wood line kind of divides your battlefield into two sides. Once the attacker commits one way or the other, he's kind of stuck because it's going to be hard to go back to that other side. So any force that's on the left side won't be able to support the right. Any forces on the right won't be able to support the left. So that is a very useful tool for your defensive force as well. Let's move on to the next one.
Yeah.
So I would definitely choose the left side of that over the right. Okay, in this one, your center line is
around here.
Yeah, right parallel to there. In this one, there's really not much in the way of decisive terrain. That cornfield would be good because it provides you with a place to pop your ambush. If it's a vehicle ambush, you can pop it either in or behind it and still be within 2 inches of the edge, so you get your full rate of fire. And it's got a big open killing zone in front of it. The cornfield on the other side kind of does the same, but its field of fire is much smaller because that hill blocks any shots to the left or right. So I would take the side with all the cornfields as my defensive side. And in this case, when it came time to put the objectives, which is the next decision that you get to make as a defender, I would put it on that top right side where the three cornfields are in a row. that almost forces the opponent to put his on the far side, because the goal with the objectives is to spread your defender out as much as you can. And that way you're pushing him into that engagement area, that killing zone. And then the next thing with the minefields here, shut off that deep one and make that killing zone even more attractive, so that you got an infantry platoon there, whatever you're using as your ambush can pop there. And if you've got any anti-tank guns, focus them around that hill so that some of them at least are shooting to the left and the rest are shooting right, but more power to the left. And that way you've built that engagement zone, you've pushed him into it, and that's where you're going to try and make a lot of burning metal. Let's go on to the next one. All right, here's an actual one that we've got. Now, in this case, you can see where the two objectives are. Tank platoon on the top covering the back one, and also providing support by fire to the infantry platoon on the objective. I don't like where the infantry platoon is placed, because you get one assault. Once you fail that morale check on the assault and have to back off, you've lost. Best case for defending an objective, you defend the objective in front of the objective, not on it or behind it. You get in front of it. Now, as the attacker, how do you stop that? If you've got artillery, that's where you put your ranged in markers. The ranged in marker is that subtle hint to your opponent that I don't want you to go there. And so
I think that's what that is.
That's probably what that is. I'm sure that's what it is, because
it looks like the B marker.
I'm positive that that is me playing Carl Bellotti, and I did that to him intentionally. And shortly after, I ran my infantry up and pushed him off that objective. Now, you'll notice in this one that we've got minefields deployed. Carl did a very good job with these minefields, because he has tied them in with the terrain, and that 4 minefields covered, 20 inches worth of minefields. Looks like it's covering 20. Oh heck, it's probably covering a good.
It's not half the board.
Yeah, probably a good 36 inches, because you can see there's one at the road intersection too.
Right.
So you cannot drive a vehicle anywhere except in that little area at the top, right there. That's your only mounted avenue of approach that doesn't go through a minefield. The other thing he does is that each one of those minefields has somebody that can shoot into it, because that is the other. There are 2 mistakes people make with minefields. One is they don't use them to form a continuous obstacle. Here we've got a continuous obstacle tied in with the terrain obstacles to take up 3/4 of the board. Even if you don't have buildings or forests or whatever to tie it into, you can still shut down a significant portion if you just put them side by side. If you just drop them out there randomly, one in one place or another, they're easily bypassed. You just drive around and walk around them, whatever you do, whatever your teams are doing. They go right around them, and they're a net loss. The second thing is that they just put them out there and they don't have anything covering them. Obstacles are covered by fire. If you don't have an obstacle covered by fire, you don't have an obstacle. And here you can see that he has done that. The infantry platoon has got 3 of the 4. The tank platoon has got the 4th. So very good job on Carl's behalf. And I think what I did in this case was he did have a couple of gaps. You can see down there at the bottom, there's only 2 stands that can see into that obstacle. Move some infantry up onto that one and the one above it. cleared them a turn later, and then the flood was open. Also had infantry in the building, so that when he did shoot, I was able to bounce some of the shots. You try to put more shots on the out. The guy had not in cover. I was able to switch those out so that they had a better chance of surviving. But very, very good setup in this case.
Yeah, actually, I was looking at. I know it's Team Yankee, but look where his Milans are. And they're here. They're there. He's got another one there. He's got that pretty. He's got a lot of good cover. I mean, the only. By the way, you came through this way.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, what was his? I'm like doing an analysis of the game. What was his ambush?
I don't remember.
What if it's another infantry battalion?
I believe that was a British force. I think he may have had some chieftains.
Chieftains?
Yeah.
Oh, they're right there. Yeah, I guess that could have been. All right, that's pretty cool. No, that looks like a pretty good setup. All right.
Yeah, it was. It was a tough game.
So we pulled out a whiteboard. So
all right, and we had discussed about. Well, let me orient the map board first. So, dotted line here is going to be the deployment, the forward deployment for the attacker. Center line here with the little half circles is the forward deployment of your defender. 1 objective, 2 objective. Didn't bother doing any terrain because it's part of how you analyze what you're going to do, and that would drive where these go and where your attack finally moves in.
Well, what's a question on the objectives? So most people, well, actually, those pretty much in the know, usually put it in the center, either the center or center towards the back, which is pretty much kind of what you're indicating there.
No, because the
that's
the bottom of it.
Oh,
I've got it in a corner.
Okay, sorry. I've seen most people do that, and the reason I'm just going to play dumb so you can answer. Why would they do that?
Well, okay. So if you're defending and you put it in the center, that means that you're not going to get as spread out by where the other guy puts his. I personally don't do that. To me, I get to make this decision, and that usually means that I get to make this decision too. Because if I go in this corner, he's going to go away from me.
Mm-hmm.
If I go in this corner, he's going to go away from me. So when I'm doing my initial assessment of the battlefield, and I'm saying I want him to come this way,
mm-hmm.
I put it down here, so he puts that one up here, and that makes that way more attractive. Let's see, we've got the side selection, we talked about that, the objective placement. So the next is mines. Again, as you see, mines, you're trying to influence what the other guy does. Very seldom do you see somebody actually drive into a minefield. They'll either send the infantry in first to clear it, which is good for you because that means that you've got more time. And that's what obstacles do. Or they'll avoid them altogether because you just don't have enough to shut down a full table. So once you've got your objectives down and you place your minefields, you put them so that you are again influencing his decision of where to go. We should take this down too.
Yeah.
All right, so once you've got your minefields down, the next step
Kind of works.
is the deployment. Select which forces you're leaving on, select which forces you're putting in reserve. Before you do that, you deploy your ranged in markers. Now, as the defender, you're going to want to put them three purposes. Counter battery. You want to force his artillery somewhere where he doesn't want it. You want it to be somewhere where you at least can see it and shoot at it. So if there is a wood line that he could put his artillery into and shoot at you with virtual impunity because you can't see him, good place for the ranged in marker. 2, obscuring. If you can anticipate that he's going to use a particular piece of terrain as a support by fire position to put his, a large unit that's going to throw a lot of dice at you, or an observer that's going to spot for artillery, and you want to delay that for a turn, that's a good place for putting that ranged in marker somewhere where it will drop smoke and block that line of sight. And 3, putting it somewhere on his anticipated avenue of approach. So we've decided we want him coming this way, but somewhere in here, there's like a wood line that he can use infantry to move up and not get shot. Put that ranged in marker there so that he can get shot. Push him back out into that open ground. All right, so next, ambush selection. You select your ambush unit. You want something. You select your ambush unit by determining what of his scares you the most. Which of his units has the greatest potential to break you? What's his rock to your scissors? Whatever that is, pick the unit that you have that can hurt it the most. That's your ambush unit. Usually something high AT, high rate of fire. Best way to go. Although I have seen a machine gun platoon do it against Soviet Strokovy. Fun. So ambush selection setup. You have to, when you're doing your deployment for the defender, reserves. Something you should have done when you were making your list. If you're really good and you have a very high rate of or a high number of units you can select from, you can have options where you drop one and change it for another based on whether you're facing a primarily infantry or primarily armored force. Or maybe even something that has more guns with lower AT instead of high guns with fewer guns with high AT, based on light tanks versus heavy. But that's something that really should have happened before you showed up to play. So now we have the attacker setup. 2 mistakes that attackers make. 1, they attack everywhere. You've got them lined up evenly spaced from right side to left side. You're not massing anywhere. You're not overcoming anybody anywhere. The advantage you have as the attacker is that you have more. Don't dissipate that by trying to attack everything. Your opponent will have 1 or 2 units that are high threat to you. Focus on them. And your opponent will have a lot of units that maybe you can't see. Don't worry about them. You'll get there. The second mistake that people make is not planning avenues of approach and lanes of fire. If you've got an attack that you want to go this way, you've also got to get everything in the fight. Artillery is easy. It doesn't matter. It'll hit it regardless. But you've got to plan that the second unit, the third unit, and any other units have line of sight to your target, and that you don't block that line of sight by moving in. So when you are deploying, make sure that you've got those in your mind firmly, so that you don't block yourself from your support. If that first round, it's going to be very difficult to kill, and or very difficult to pin, and even more difficult to kill stuff, because it's going to be concealed, gone to ground, long range. So keep that in mind. That's going to be the hardest point. You need to get every weapon system available to bear on the target. And so when you're setting up, prioritize. I want this unit, which has a high rate of fire and a high firepower, to make sure that every round goes into the target. This other one doesn't have as much, so I can take a turn and move it, and I'm not losing that much. Or I'm going to just move it and use machine guns, something that doesn't reduce rate of fire, and I'm going to accept that I'm not going to get in a lot of kills. Decisions that you have to make at the time. But those are the two main mistakes made when the attacker is setting up. Once you've got those, you are in a good shape. You're going to have to throw the dice and see what happens. But you have done everything you can to make statistically average work for you.
Yeah, that's the point where I say, you put yourself in the best spot, and then now it's just playing the game, rolling dice.
Yeah. So, and we've done all this to focus as the attacker on the near objective, because it's the easy button. Now, there are going to be times when that easy button ain't so easy. And you've got to buy yourself more time. One of the ways that you can buy time is that you have a small unit, reconnaissance, light tank, something will move to threaten this one. It's not going to take it. It doesn't have enough stuff. And it's going to run into the reserves. One turn to get to the first line, second turn gets you close, third turn you're there, but so's the other guy. Because by that time he will have moved something. He will definitely, on his turn 3, he definitely gets a reserve. So that happens. But what you have done is you have tied up that reserve and kept it out of this fight. And the other thing that allows you to do is that you have the option of coming in on a flank if that turns out to be the thing to do. And that's a decision you got to make based on what's going on at the time in the game. I just want to go over, these are the decisions that you can make in the course of the game to maximize your abilities. If you're the defender, picking which side of the table do you want to defend on. Maximize your terrain advantages, minimize any issues with getting your reserves into the fight, maximize your lanes of fire, maximize your ability to support other units, that everybody can support each other. If you can maximize interlocking lanes of fire, you're better off than trying to have two separate groups defending each objective that are basically independent. Because now your opponent is, instead of 100% versus 60%, it's 100% versus 30. Artillery location needs to be taken into consideration for what you're going to use that artillery for. As a defender, you've got two primary missions. You want to have final protective fire, so anything that's getting close to your objective, you're attriting it, pinning it down. Second thing is counter battery. If you've got an infantry platoon defending an objective, the biggest threat to that infantry platoon is the opponent's artillery. So your artillery should be focused on killing his artillery. The third is reserves. I said that you made that decision early, but there are times when you got to look and go, you know what, maybe this isn't the right call. Maybe I should have a couple more units out just so I can get this rock to the other guy's scissors on the table instead of in the rear. You decide which ambush unit you want to use based on what he's got, based on what you think he's going to do, based on where you've got to put it. There are a lot of units that, because of the size of the guns, have to come in outside of 16. Keep that in mind. The location of your minefields, the task purpose of your minefields, of where does it go and what do you want it to do. And then the last thing that you've got to decide on as a defender is your ambush location and when to pop it. Pop it early. You might get, if you've got the chance to pop it early, okay, that can be the right call. But sometimes just having it out there will keep him from rushing in. But once it's out, and now maybe it's possible for him to back up and go somewhere else now that there's no threat at that somewhere else. So keeping it out as long as you can is a good call. But if you got a chance to, get his critical unit at short range and unconcealed, then that's the right answer. The attacker doesn't have as many decisions that they can make, but a lot of the same ones. The first one is the artillery location. It's a gentle reminder to your opponent that that's not where you want him to be. Put it down, use it to help him decide where not to put his forces. That will make your job easier if you can do like what we were showing in that picture and put his infantry in a less than optimal position to be defending from. The second and most important choice that you have is where to focus. The point of attack where you can bring the most to bear and do the most damage is going to help you rather than trying to spread out and go everywhere at once. You do have to focus. You've got to achieve fire superiority, and that's done by putting more shots into a smaller area and using terrain and distance to negate the shots that might be coming back from other areas of the board. And the last choice that you get to make as the attacker is whether to go fast or whether to go slow. So there are certain, I don't know how, there's a lot of units that first turn, you got 18 inches. 10-inch tactical, 4-inch follow me, 4-inch assault. And if he is right up on that center line and you can get to him turn one and his anti-tank guns are in ambush, and you can get up there and get on the objective firstest with the mostest, then that's a good thing. You punch up, hit him, he has to pull back. You can pull back, weather that one turn, and pretty good shot that he's got a bunch of infantry outside of foxholes alone on the objective. The other option is to go slow. You've got a heavy artillery force. You've got a force that can root infantry out by shooting. Take your time. Sit back. Protect your force. Keep your guys alive by making them shoot long range concealed at you. Just remember that turn 5, you need to be close enough that you're 8 inches away on turn 6, with enough stuff that whatever he shoots at you on turn 6, you still got something there at the end of turn 6. And if you keep those things in mind, you've got a good shot of winning, whichever side you are.
All right. So that was pretty good. Something to think about. Now, what Chris?
Anybody got questions?
Well, there was some comments.
Right.
Yeah, Kelly said that you were the John Wick of Flames of War and T Yankee. And I said, don't mess with your dog.
Don't mess with your dog.
Yeah.
Or his cats.
Or
his wife. Or anybody else.
Though Kelly is wondering about the foxes. You're talking about
Foxes.
the foxholes.
Oh.
Anyway, play on words.
Yeah.
Patrick says, now get out there and win one for the Gipper. I think from a lot of it goes, kind of we've been saying for a while on this, is that before you come to the event, you need to have a game plan, which is your force list. Which is, if you think you're going to be defending, no matter what you're doing, always know what your reserves are going to be. And like Chris said, if you can have options, that's better. Like, I'll put a list going. All right, if I see heavy armor, this is my team. This is who I'm going to start on. If I see a lot of little armor, but there's a ton of it, I want this for my team. If I see infantry, I want that, and play with a couple things. If you could do that, great. If not, you're like, well, this is my reserve. That's it. So be it. But at least so that you can plan accordingly. And that, because then the next topic we're going to talk about is how to pick battle plans, which was something that came up on the forums. How to know which one to pick. But the thing is, no matter what it starts with what kind of army do you want to play and how do you want to play it.
Yeah, completely.
So if you're going to be I want to defend, and I'm going to have, by the way, 3 infantry platoons. I think is a must. Something that is, what is your ambush unit? It's usually something to get the armor. Usually, you plan that stuff accordingly with your list. Then you can say, okay, I'm going to pick defend a lot, right? And who knows? Maybe maneuver might come up now and then, but you're like, I'm not going to pick attack. Well, then what you do is then, once you figure that out, based off the list you're playing, how do you want to play it, then you can go back to the extended battle plans and say, oh, well, if I pick defend, what missions will I see come up? And then plan accordingly. Hey, bridgehead, dogfight, encirclement, fighting withdraw. Oh, yeah, fighting withdraw. Yeah, you better, if you're going to pick defend, you better figure out, okay, turn 2, I need to remove something. It's going to be this, right? Some schmo unit, like a recon unit or something like that. Something that's, relatively weak. But you can't make sure it's not a core formation unit. Because you could, by removing things, break your own company.
I've seen it done.
Yep. So these are things that you need to think about when because anyway, since that forum, I had some time to think about it, right? And I'm thinking, it's just not like, oh, hey, here, pick attack, pick a defend, and pick maneuver. No, it's all about what army do you bring that you want to put together, and then you gotta say, well, I think this is an attacking list. And I want to attack with it. Boy, I like to attack. I'm aggressive. Okay, great. You put yourself attacking list. You better have an answer for reserves just in case you get into that fair fight stuff, especially the fair fight stuff. And then you say, oh, okay, hey, as an attacker, I can go and take a look at this list and say, oh, here's the missions I'm going to see. Everyone's going to see contact, counterattack, dust up, and counter, free for all, and scouts out. That's just that, if two people pick the same thing. Then you can see that all the way across the matrix, right?
There's recon in this scenario, right?
No, the recon. There's no room for recon because the distance between them is already 16 inches.
All right.
That's as close as you can get at 16. They can wave, anyway. But you can take a look. Hey, as the attacker, breakthrough, counterattack, escape, fighting withdrawal, gauntlet, spear point, and then as defender, bridgehead, dogfight, encirclement. There's fighting withdrawal again. Hey, guess what? You might be seeing fighting withdrawal a couple times, killing ground and no retreat, which we're talking about today. So what you do is you're saying, hey, if I'm going to be picking, this is the army I'm putting together. This is what I'm going to see. Take a look and think about this is what I want to pick. I mean, how do you build your army?
So I always plan to do both. I will pick whatever maneuver units I want to focus on. I have always been an aggressive infantry player. Up until recently, that usually meant that I was defending. When V4 came out and the Matrix came out and you got to choose, that made it more flexible for me. But before, when it was, tanks attacked mech attacks infantry, I would usually be defending. Unless I was facing another infantry force, in which case I would be the attacker. And so I basically build the force focusing on whatever element that is. So we're talking infantry, 2 to 3 infantry platoons. I would prefer 3, but sometimes that just didn't work with the points.
Yeah, it's hard with Germans.
Yeah. Then the next mechanism is, okay, how do I keep the tanks off of me? Anti-tank gun platoon, heavy tanks, something else to support them. And then, okay, what is the main threat against my primary maneuver force? Artillery. How do I deal with artillery?
Mm-hmm.
Counter battery, aircraft.
Yep.
Every list that I have run in the last year and a half that has been infantry based has come with aircraft and at least 1 artillery battery. The artillery battery can deal with towed guns and mortars. The aircraft can deal with self-propelled. People say that aircraft are no good in this game. I have yet to not get my points back because I focus on those items that they do well against. Light-skinned armor. 3-2 West battery, 2 hits. The good chance they're checking. 3 hits, they're probably checking permanently. So, and that, taking those out of the fight, not only makes the aircraft worth it. You get your points back, but it also protects your force and allows other units to get their points. Everything will have a task and purpose in the list. If I've got infantry, they're either there to hold ground or take ground. Tanks and anti-tank weapons are there to destroy other tanks, keep them off the infantry. Artillery is either to destroy enemy artillery or counter battery and keep the enemy artillery off of mine. Aircraft are there to destroy light-skinned vehicles, which protects the infantry in every manner of way regardless. I'm either taking out vehicles with a lot of machine gun shots. I'm taking out light artillery, armored mortars, flamethrower tracks, all of those things that make infantry go away. The aircraft deals with those. Reconnaissance is used to either deny ground to the enemy by spearheading out and taking it. That's especially important in Bridgehead. And it's also used to, just harass, to go somewhere he ain't and threaten his rear echelon, artillery pieces or keep machine gun infantry and keep it from getting too overly aggressive. And once I've gotten that list, I look at what the other guy has. If I've got an infantry heavy list and he's got tank heavy or like a lot of armored cars, and Patrick, your comment about a lot of the old baby units is not exactly true, because I'm seeing a lot of armored car lists that are very, very aggressive that I've never seen them choose defend. So it's not a correct assumption there, sir. But if he's got a lot of firepower, then I'm going to pick defend. If he's got infantry that I think he's going to want to hole up, well, that's why I brought my artillery, and I'm going to do that slow attack that I was talking about when we were discussing no retreat. So now I'm going to pick attack and go after him. And if he chooses attack 2, well, that's just fine, because now we got a meeting engagement, and I'm still going after him.
Mm-hmm. Well, because because once again you're putting a list together, going, these are the possible scenarios, so I'm planning accordingly.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
With the fail to plan to fail kind of thing. So back to this question that was on the forums, which was about what scenarios do I pick? Well, the thing is that what army did you build? What's your playing style? You should figure that out first, and that all of a sudden now you start coming down to a selection of battle plans. You know what your battle plan is, because you probably bring it down to 2 of them.
Yeah. Right.
And then because very, very little, I just see that, hey, I have an army. I could pick all 3 ish. Usually you're gonna. I'd focus on 2 of them. If it's attack, maneuver, or attack, defend, maneuver, defend, whatever that combination I'm looking for. And then off of that, then take a look and say, okay, if I'm going to pick that, does my army fit the scenarios that are going to be coming up? Because, I've been picking a lot of attack and maneuver, and I've been playing a lot of counterattack and gauntlet. Why is that? Oh, hey, look, it's the thing on the chart, and I'm like, I've been playing a crazy amount of counterattack and gauntlet. That's just, so plan accordingly. Matter of fact, one of the first things the 101 was counterattack. Well, because I think I picked it because I played it twice at the last 3 tournaments I was at, so I played it 6 times.
Wow.
So yeah, I'm like, oh yeah. By the way, sometimes I was the attacker, sometimes I was the defender. So I'm like, okay, I think I could talk about this because it's pretty fresh in my head, and I did, and we're talking about it. Oh, by the way, so I did that, and then I went to a tournament, and I ran into it twice on the same table as the defender. Both times they didn't have reserves. The attacker, not reserves, but they didn't have recon.
Oh.
And I'm like, what? I said, oh, have you ever heard of Battle Rankings Live? There's this thing you should watch called, Missions 101. It's about counterattack, and yeah, basically everything I talked about, exactly what happened. They couldn't get out, and they didn't get farther. Because I was able to spearhead out. I'm covering I'm on both objectives, and unfortunately, but the table is I picked where the high ground was. So one of them has a Ferdinand sitting on the high ground, and by the way, he's a whatchamacallit, Churchill list.
Ooh.
Yeah. Yeah, that was not pretty.
Paper to his rock.
Exactly. By the way, I believe that player came in 2nd. So his 1st and 3rd game, he tore it up. But no, he ran into he ran into a 30 with the high ground. You know, what we should do is we should stock that. Don't do it. I got the high ground anyway. But yeah. So
Yeah, I've got to address that recon wins games comment. Yeah, if you ain't Cav, you ain't shit.
yeah, yeah. But I think I've been doing the recon wins games thing. Oh, gee whiz. That how long have I been preaching that? I think since we've been doing this, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I said, win, recon for the. Oh, matter of fact, there's times at a tournament I would yell out, "Recon for the win!" And it's just because for 2 points, have a recon unit. The worst thing you could do is go out there and get blown away by the ambush because that's the thing. I'm like, oh, they popped the ambush there. They blew my 2 points of recon. Oh, that's better than blowing away 18 points worth of tanks. I'm like, oh, hey, recon, you did your job.
You know how you find the enemy?
They run into them?
No, you look for the burning scouts, add 500 yards.
yeah. So someone was talking about Team Yankee about Russian recon or something like that, and I posted a picture of it was a European thing where the guy was driving his little European piece of junk, but he had a cane outside the window, and he was tapping along, and he's like running over curbs and everything. I'm like, that's Russian recon. Just, oh, hey, look what we found here. Then if you survive, back off. That sounds like the Russian document, doesn't it? Now, anyway, but the thing is, it's kind of like one of these things. I've been talking about this in Battle Rankings Live about how to use. It's on already. So forget. Sometimes the mics pick up the hum of the fan. But I talk about these things and about how picking and this, that, and the other. But I don't talk about it necessarily. Oh, well, you're a tank. Pick attack. Well, most likely. But the thing is, what kind of tanks are you? What's the rest of the stuff you have? What's your playing style like? Maybe a maneuver works better for you, because sometimes if you pick maneuver, you might not have minefields. Fighting with Draw has minefields, right?
Yeah.
That's the only one on there that has minefields. Yep. So the thing is like, hey, maybe I don't have a way maybe I have 0 infantry, so I have no way to take care of minefields. Oh, guess what? Maybe I'll do maneuver. But guess what? If you do that, get ready to have know what your 60% on board is. It's all about building your list and then realizing what missions you're going to run into, and then plan accordingly. So the thing is, we can't say A or B or C because the game's too dynamic for that. And then sometimes I look at the table going, oh no, I got to change my plan based on this table
or what the opponent brought.
No, that's true too. Yeah,
he gets a vote.
He does. Yeah, they always the table. It's table matchup mission. Then you take a look and go, because the mission comes out of all the rest of that. And I don't know if that answers your guys' questions about how do I pick my mission. Well, it's because you basically you answer it by what did you bring, what are you bringing, and how did you plan accordingly to use it. Well, there you go. That defines that answers what missions what selection you should be doing.
What have you got? What have they got? What are you playing? It's I took a Soviet tank OV, Lend-Lease tank OV late war list to Switzerland for the this year's international competition, and I picked defend with it more than anything else.
Oh, let's talk. How did that go? I mean, you brought it up.
Well, I'm very happy to say that I won the most games of anybody on the team.
Okay, which was
3
out of
6.
Okay.
So we were not as highly ranked as we have been in the past. And it was basically our fault. We did guess right on what the meta would be.
Mm-hmm.
We built our list to face that meta.
Mm-hmm.
We told our team captain that if we faced these lists, we would kick their ass. And then we didn't. So, ouch.
What do you think? Was it a fail of execution, or was it the fail? What was the failure? Yeah, where was the fail?
I know on at least one of mine, it was hubris. I sat there and I looked at the list and I said, I need to get the hell away from this list. And then I wrote down, yeah, I'm going to kick this list's ass.
Okay.
Don't know why I did it. I did it.
Well, and by the way, this whole thing goes about what I was talking about. You pick the list, you know the mission, and you have a good idea what you're going to face. I mean,
yeah. In this format, we knew every player submitted their list, and that list was distributed back to every player. So you got to sit down before the tournament and go through every opponent's list and compare it to yours and say, yes, I can beat this. No, I can't. And we guessed wrong.
Well, now, okay, so you looked at it. I mean, well, first of all, the team. Who was on the team?
Tim McClellan was the team captain.
Okay, Tim.
Kevin Morris and Igor.
I don't remember.
Sorry, Igor, I can't remember your last name. But he's both of them are out of California.
Right. Yeah, great guys.
We had two.
Where was it, by the way?
Lausanne, Switzerland.
Okay.
We had two British lists, mixture of armored car and heavy tank and infantry. Tim brought a German armored car list, and I brought the Soviet takeover.
All right. Yeah, it's Igor Torgerson.
I knew it started with a T.
Yep. I had to look it up. Yeah, right. Kelly says that Igor, that name just rocks. It does. So it was a trimmed down version, because usually ETC, for example, full blown ETC would have 6 people on a team.
6 people on a team.
So you have 4.
Yeah.
Everyone put their list together. They submitted it. And they passed them all out at the same time. Kind of what we've been doing for Masters. And then so it got distributed. Mm-hmm. You guys said, all right, if we meet Team A, this is what I want to do.
And that then you would formulate your plan on how are we going to match up so that we can get the most of our papers to their rocks.
Sure.
And we got what we wanted, but we didn't do what we needed to do.
Well, for example, so your tank did you do the Lend-Lease?
Yeah.
Okay, so you did the Lend-Lease. How many points was it?
100.
Oh, that's not too bad. Okay, so that's a lot of stuff. So you did the Lend-Lease, 100 points, and what, like, for example, what did you think you wanted to go up against? Like your first round.
I was designed to go against an armored car horde.
Okay.
Lots of Stewarts, lots of Lees, a couple of artillery batteries to take care of any infantry, and Sturmovix. And I also had 10 T-70s.
Now, did you run into an armored car horde?
No, they kept those away from me.
Okay, all right.
Mostly what I got were British infantry.
British infantry, mid-war.
No, this was late war.
Was late war?
It was late war.
Oh, at least you're hit on 3s.
Yeah, it was very, because everybody expected me to attack. They didn't want to do the reserve, so everybody tried to attack, to game the system and tried to attack back. I picked defend, so now you get British infantry attacking tanks.
Sure.
And in late war, stewards don't go against deep reserves.
Right.
So my choice at the beginning of the game was, do I put my Panthers in reserve or do I put my Lee company in reserve?
Mm-hmm.
And the decision was always based on, okay, what does the other guy have for for tanks?
Mm-hmm.
If he's got Churchills, Panthers are on, Lees are back.
Mm-hmm.
If he's got M10s, Lees are on. And there were a couple of games where my ambush crippled my opponent. And then there was a couple of games where it didn't entirely whiff, but was significantly below average, and that wound up hurting me later on.
Yeah, yeah. By the way, did those British infantry companies have Achilles?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Achilles would be the ambush target.
All right, and were they bringing 2 sets of Achilles?
One did, one didn't.
Okay, so yeah,
And
but there's always at least one.
The third opponent was an M10 company with U.S. armored cars. So yeah, the ambush went on those M10s, and it took me another 3 turns. I wound up breaking that M10 company.
Okay.
And shortly after breaking the armored cars, he should have won. There was one turn, and I made a big boo-boo. I should have used my magic, get a 4 card
Oh yeah.
to bring my reserves in on an objective that was being threatened. I forgot and rolled the dice, and of course, they went to the other side. They were useless.
Yeah, create your own luck.
Create your own luck. Yeah.
Yeah, that's I don't know if I hate that card more than just the reroll card too. I'm like, anyway.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Need a 4 to range in? Boom. That Sturmovic's about to do some nastiness.
Oh yeah. That's what that's what it's there for. Okay, but so you and the boys didn't have a good outing.
Had a lot of fun though.
Oh yeah,
beautiful.
Yeah, I didn't mean Switzerland, right? Of course. Every time I think about the Swiss, you ever see The Tick?
No, I haven't.
Yeah, there's an episode where the
original animated. You're talking
the
about.
original animated
Okay, yeah.
The Tick, the cartoon.
Yes.
Yeah. What was it? Batmite or no? Not. What was the guy's? Something.
It was called Deflator Mouse.
Hold on,
Deflator Mouse.
We got a question. Hey, Dean. For that list, I had 2 of the reconnaissance by fire. I generally, when I buy a Soviet artillery unit, I buy that card. That is the best 2 points in the game for the Soviets. And then I had the make your own luck card. And the T-70 recon tank platoon or company card.
That's a good. Yeah.
10 points for 10 tanks. I don't think they killed the thing the whole tournament. They just made sure that there was no way to break my army because I never got to the point where there weren't 2 tank units in the rear.
Right. No, it's an interesting little combo because actually those little tanks, I don't treat them as tanks. I treat them almost as like armored infantry.
And yeah, that's the late war with the Stuarts. Haven't ever used the partisan raid card. I have used the partisan unit card. I love having that extra 15 to 20 points of reserves on the table at the start of the game when I'm playing Strelkovy. But I haven't even looked at the raid.
Yeah, isn't the raid card where they come on later?
I think it means that they
jack
up the reserves, the opponent's reserves.
Yeah. By the way, I got busy and I started binding all these things because they were just all over the place. And
Kelly, why do you think he would be looking for another one?
Partisan rating card. Well, there's partisans. Partisan rating card. Hmm. Well, you'd think it'd be in here, right? Oh,
yeah,
that's
make them
right.
re-roll the reserve roll. That's what I thought.
Yeah.
Yeah, that doesn't. That only works for 2 turns, and it only works if they succeed. So 3 chances of 1 in 3 before you get to use it. After that, they automatically get them.
Oh.
Get your own girl.
Partisan raid. Yeah, just discard this card for your opponent to roll for reserves. You must use the reroll. That's 2 points. I like the combat.
Recon by combat.
Oh yeah, that's because they have such terrible ranging in.
Yep.
Yeah, and the thing is, you could say, oh, is that where you went? Guess what? This 6 battery thing is right on top of you. So that's what I like about it.
Oh, I love it. Yes.
Yeah. Rerolling.
Attacking or defending.
Yep.
You better pin that unit, or you're going to have a load of. That is awesome for counter battery.
So, what's the plans for next year for ETC? Are they planning to open it up?
I'm going to wait to see how COVID goes, but they are planning on doing another one. They do want to move it back to 6. We got to wait and see what the world is like at that point.
Which you got a year. See what it's like. Hopefully, it's a much better world. Anyway, so I hope we address some of the things about your battle plans. I don't think there's anything a clear cut that says X, Y, Z, but there's a bunch of it is. Napoleon had this thing. Like quick of the ear or something like that. It's the quick of the eye, looking at something, making a judgment, and saying, "Oh, I need to do X because this is the condition that's going on right now." And some people can look at the battlefield, see what's going on, make that decision, and execute. Right? I don't know. I don't know if that can be taught. I don't.
It can. The Army has an acronym for it. MET: Mission, Enemy, Terrain, Time, Troops. And I did that in the wrong order, but the 3 T's are right. You want to win. Mission is to win. That's actually kind of out because your stance determines the game mission, but your mission is to defeat the enemy. What the enemy has, what troops you have, how much time you've got to get it done. I'm talking tournaments. Some get 2 hours, some get 3 hours. Anywhere in between. Friendly game, you've only got 2 hours to complete your game because you've got to go shopping for mama. Whatever. There's a time factor. And terrain. What's on the table? What's going to slow you down? What's going to, everything. And that's learning that, knowing that what to look for is a start, and then just experience of, okay, I see that there's a wood line there that's going to cause a problem for me if I do this, so I need to do that. That's experience.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like waving, moving your troops in front of machine gun nests. Yeah, that's something you only do once. Things like that. Knowing that if you do X, Y might happen, and then plan accordingly. But anyway, so I hope we answered that question on that. So I look forward to forums. By the way, once again, guys, if you like what we're doing here, and I'm always pulling different people on, getting different perspective of the game. It's just not mine. Though I have an opinion on everything, just like everyone else. But I'm always constantly pulling people in. You like this, like it, let other people know, and then the show is always live, so you can, if you have a question, you can always ask it. and we'll try to answer as much as we can. And let other people know so they can watch this. I do this for the purely love of the game and for you guys. And of course, I started this when COVID hit, and what else I was going to do. So I started it. I'm like I'm around 70 shows.
Wow.
Yeah. Now, by the way, the first ones were gone awful. Not that this is like, stellar, it's going to win Tonys or something. But the first ones are...
I thought we were awesome. What are you talking about?
For what it is. I've been improving the equipment. It's like you can see them. We're all mic'd. I can do multiple camera shots now. So we got that going on. So I'm building this studio. By the way, I actually cleaned this place. This place was a disaster because that's just how my warped mind works. And you're like, this is clean. Anyway.
No, I was here last year. I remember that this is in fact clean.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, it was a disaster. So we cleaned it up, so we added the another mic and camera. But yeah, looking to bring more people in. Have more guests. If you like it, let people know. Matter of fact. By the way, so you're in town for Gen Con.
I'm in town for Gen Con.
Okay, here. So tomorrow is the mid-war, and you brought your
the same Soviet Lend-Lease tank Ovi adapted for mid-war.
Yeah, I brought an armored car list. So hopefully we won't run into each other. Well, I actually. I played Armored Car at NashCon. It did very well with it. I ended up winning. Learned some stuff from it, improved it, and then actually finished painting everything the way I wanted it. And the German side has decals now, at least. So I'm pretty happy with it. And then I'm running Team Yankee. So what would you bring for Team Yankee? Soviets.
BMP battalion, one company of twos, one company of threes, a BTR support company, Heinz artillery air defense.
Okay. By the way, which air defense do you bring? You bring I
brought Tunguska and SA-8s. No, the Burnham based.
SA-9s. What's the one that's like a Gepard with missiles?
The Tunguska.
Okay, so you brought some of those. Yeah.
Are you gonna bring your camera and stuff?
Probably not. I might try with my phone. If Verizon does coverage in there, I'll do something. But yeah, I don't want to pay con rates for wireless.
Oh, okay.
Well, who do they think I am? Daily Wire. Come on.
They don't have like a guest Wi-Fi.
Free where?
Never mind.
And a convention center? Yeah, I don't think so. Yeah, I mean, hold on. They charge you to put carpeting down in your booth. Come on.
Welcome to Fantasy Disco.
Yeah. So yeah, I know one thing. I will take some pictures and then probably bring it back and talk about. Now, then Saturday's late war. By the way, these are all 100, 100, 100. What would you bring for late?
It's the same list that I took pretty much there. I did drop the T-70s, plussed up the Stuarts, put in an infantry platoon, which was one of the big lax parts of the list that I had. But Lee, Stuart, Sturmovik, infantry, artillery.
British armor car. Actually, I should say
Stay away from me.
Yeah.
Just a friendly reminder.
Yeah. British armor car, but it's not much armor car. It's really Achilles, with the crocodiles, some other tanks. Oh yeah, and there's some armor cars. Right. Anyway, so that's just brought that.
How many units in the Corps?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I mean, when you're 2 points, it's pretty easy.
Yeah.
They're all running around like little madmen. Don't shoot at me. Anyway, but the thing is, the British D-Day book, is not about the formation; it's about the support.
Right.
So and so I brought all the goodies for the support. Anyway, we'll go from there. We'll see what happens. Anyway, we'll just have some fun. So we got that going on. Okay. Let's do. What's so funny?
Patrick.
Oh, Patrick. What I learned today. Okay. What I learned today is always phrase my comments as questions to save face when I get it wrong. Oh, that's pretty good. Pretty good, Patrick.
Would have hoped you learned a little more, but.
Well, the thing is, when we get towards the end, I always do. What did we learn today? Okay, so why don't you guys get your what did we learn today's put together? All the handful that's still left. But you know what? Have you met our resident ghost?
I have not.
So we.
Hello. It's Panzer Ghost.
Yep. And of course, what's Panzer Ghost here for?
Panzer Ghost is going to read from you from the manual of the Panzer tank.
Yep.
Which is written in verse, right?
Yep. So it's Ready? I got to do the thing. Poetry Corner, read by Panzer Ghost.
Okay, so today I think we're going with flank stuff.
Flank, right.
Flanking.
Like a good flank steak.
Yes.
Okay.
There's no doubt you'll draw the blank when in battle on the right flank. In a sword fight, pick up an old blade, but later your luck changes grade. Go for it up front. Take a chance. Genteel and posh, a country dance. Later, a lady is after you. From behind, she did pursue. Today, flirtation comes from the side. In a motor, this can be done with pride. It's crucial that you can recognize at this moment there is a prize. The situation, time and gradation, but unlike the fight, no alteration. In the real world, it starts so urgent. The enemy and setting can be divergent. He gets right up into your face. How far? See information here, just in case. Dead opposite is the right place. Can show him your side this time. But the back is definitely not a crime. He'll shoot at you, firing on cue. And much more tricky, it'll be too. He's coming diagonally. I can't say that word. That's a strange word. Okay, he's coming diagonally, all askew. Stay centered to unnerve. Turret fixed onto the curve. Note that every shot tried on, it's best for it to land side on. And there's even a diagram. You can still share the diagram. This is actually the Panzer manual.
Yeah, hold on. Yeah, actually, let me show the people.
You gotta show people, then you can give it to Chris because then he wants to see.
So this is the manual. So by the way, if this is your first time, Kelly, watching this is the copy of the training manual for the Panther tank during World War II. I think this was written in 1944-ish or 43-ish, and the Bevington Tank Museum took the original manual and started GoFundMe, and then hired a person.
It's easier to read in German.
Yeah, yeah, it's better than its native German, right?
Better in its native German, yes.
And so they converted it to English. The whole thing is written in verse, in rhyme. Now, why is that? Because it's easier to remember. Like, if you wanted to know the order of starting the tank up, it's in rhyme. So I don't know if these guys were sending them and going, oh, you do, as they're like doing the starting of the tank or stuff. But they used the original pictures.
Chris has got to see this one.
Yeah, they used the original pictures, the diagrams and drawings.
It does look the same way. It does look the same. I remember.
You remember? Yes. Those were the days, right?
Those were the days.
Yes. And so, and by the way, for those who don't know, where Panzer Ghost came from was last Halloween. We had we got a haunting from Panzer Ghost. Well, by the way, why don't you tell a little bit about yourself for the new people?
Well, I was in the Ghost Panzer division.
Yeah, but did you want to be there?
I did not want to be there. I wanted to be a comedian.
Yeah. Well, on top of the keyboard over there.
What?
Oh, the book.
Oh.
And so you wanted to be a comedian, right? What kind of, any jokes?
Okay, sure. What does a vegan zombie eat?
I don't know. What does a vegan zombie eat?
Grains!
Great. Okay. All right. Actually, that's pretty funny. Most of these are pretty cringe.
So anyway.
Greens. All right, that makes sense. Okay. All right, and so with that, I want to go with one more thing. So we're coming out of this. By the way, so on a sadder note, we kind of do a little. Norm Macdonald passed away the other day. He was 61 years old.
Now he's funny.
Yeah, he is funny. Chris, before you came here, we listened to basically just about a half hour of Norm Macdonald clips, laughing our asses off. God. Yeah, there was this one thing where he was on The View, which he's no longer allowed to be on The View.
He was no longer, yeah.
Oh my God. Just.
Did he disagree with them? That's not.
No, the thing was, I think it was
he was tweaking them.
Oh, the playful, kind of what, sometimes a cat plays with its food.
Barbara Walters, this is when Barbara Walters was still on The View, and she was just pissed. Yeah, she yeah, because she goes, you're supposed to be being funny.
He was hilarious.
He was hilarious. But she didn't have a sense of humor for what he was doing. My gosh.
Well, Bush, the junior, or the son, W, is coming in the office, and he was saying it was nice that there wasn't a killer going to be in the White House anymore.
A murderer, yeah.
Yeah, a murderer. And they're going on this, and he's just like, he's just, was it like for 5 minutes? Every time they thought it was safe, he brought it right back. And he was
so you can't come in here and make those accusations.
Yeah, I thought it was public knowledge. It was just,
okay, all right, fine, manslaughter.
Yeah.
I was like, holy crap.
Yeah, and the thing was, they couldn't tell that he was just playing with them. I mean, or the Larry King.
He was laughing the entire time.
Yeah, I know.
Like he was teasing them.
Or just the way he played Larry King like a fiddle. I mean, of course, some of the stuff back. But, yeah, anyway, so sad day. The thing was, do you know he was battling cancer for 9 years?
Yeah.
He just didn't let people know. By the way, one of his jokes that he was talking about, he was talking about, you don't lose your battle with cancer, because when you die, the cancer dies.
Right.
So he was calling it a tie.
That's going to be a draw.
Yeah, it's going to be a draw. So, and he was talking about that during this, this whole thing, with that all going on. But yeah, have you seen the Tyson Mysteries?
No.
Okay. It's it Comedy Central? It's one of those. At night, I don't have cable, so I see it other ways. It's actually Mike Tyson as Mike Tyson, and he's got a guy who's like some magic user and some Asian gal. That it's just the whole thing was. Well, Norm Macdonald's in it, and he's a chicken or a pigeon. I think he's a pigeon. Oh, he's a pigeon, right? He's a pigeon.
Oh, this is animated.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, it's that. Yeah. I know
I
you
missed
haven't
that
seen it
part.
because it's extremely offensive, and it's basically Norm Macdonald just making Norm Macdonald things as a pigeon, looking at the whole thing, and like the Scooby Gang. Mike Tyson goes to solve mysteries, but the thing is that they might not even end up at the mystery. It's just like a string of consciences, just going all over the place, and it's pretty funny. It's wrong but funny. That's about what makes it really funny.
It's
But
funny
anyway.
how those two kind of go together a lot.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's on Adult Swim. But yeah, so sad thing. Norm Macdonald passed away.
Did you see the little rhyme that Patrick did?
Patrick did a rhyme.
Patrick did a rhyme.
Hold on. Oh, okay. Does your force always? Oh, I actually have you read it.
Oh no.
Panzer Ghost.
Oh,
You'll have to.
It'll come up.
for me or her?
Yeah, Ann.
I'm not-
Panzer Ghost. Sorry.
Okay. Anne has to get to the site because I'm not watching right now.
Oh. Does your force always get a spanking? You better watch Joe on Battle Ranking.
Oh, okay.
Well
I
done,
was
Patrick.
thinking,
Well
well
done.
done,
Yeah.
Patrick. Well
Oh,
done.
I thought you were one of the 4 people watching.
No, I didn't bring it
Oh,
up.
I feel better now.
You know why I didn't bring it up is because when I do, I always end up getting sound coming through
Well, that's true.
and over you guys. So that's why I don't bring it up. Oh, does your force always get a spanking? You better watch Joe on Battle Ranking.
There we go.
There you go.
Yeah, remember, if you're not watching,
Yeah.
your opponent is. Okay. So yeah, let everyone know. But anyway, that's our kind of our shout out to Norm Macdonald. Anyway, rest in peace, Norm. Anyway, so Ann, you want to play us out?
Sure.
Anyway,
let me know you're ready.
You know what? I am ready.
You're ready?
I think the audience is ready too.
Okay.
Remember, next week, announcing of the Masters, and so we got that going on. Also, I'll give an update on how we did at Gen Con.
Yeah, Gen Con.
Yep.
I can always.
Thank you, Patrick.
Good night, Patrick.
Yep. Oh, Patrick, did you ever get that the thing I sent you? Let me know. All right, everybody, you have a great night. We'll see you next week. Stay frosty.